What's going on, you nerds? Welcome back to the True Nerds Gaming Podcast. We're very excited for this week's episode. So Dan and I have not been able to talk much. So first things first, we're going to be going over what the hell have we done all week. Number two, we're going to get more detailed into Destiny 2 Witch Queen expansion. Dan's been grinding that a little bit.
That's right.
Then lastly, we're going to be going over my beloved Elden Ring. So thanks for stopping by. We really appreciate it. Let's get into it. All right, man. So first things first, how the hell was your week? We hadn't talked much. We played one night of Elden Ring together, and all it was network issues trying to PvP, or do co-op, I should say. So tell me a little bit about your week. Gaming, not gaming?
So I had a very busy week of work. I worked a bunch of kind of like extra hours and stuff like that. We did some upgrades, and so I was pretty engaged. But on Monday, I got my surround sound home theater system, which you can see in the background.
Ooh, I didn't even notice
that. I've been messing with that kind of all week in any kind of like 5 or 10 minute increments. I'll play a song, I'll adjust speaker position. I've been watching some YouTube videos on that, and so that's been one of my nerdy passions this week. So I've been doing a lot of stuff with that. It's even wife approved. She really likes it.
Okay. That's rare. Not for your wife specifically, but just wives.
No, for my wife specifically. So I got white speakers that you can kind of see because
I like that.
She likes white. I think I'm coming at like along with white. I'm starting to enjoy some of her tastes and things. I think she likes a lot of white. I like white in a few places where it can really kind of pop and stand out from the rest of your environment. Yeah. So I got those. So she's kind of like really liking it. That means I get to move my other surround sound, like sound bar upstairs. So now we will have really good sounding audio in kind of both rooms, and I don't have to feel like if I want the best movie watching experience, be down here by myself. I get to experience that with my wife, whatever show we're watching, or we can watch a movie together, and I don't feel like I have to be down here to get the best experience. So really excited about that.
I like the, like I said, I didn't notice it, man, but those the white pops. I like it. It accents that room's coming together really, really good.
Yeah.
I thought it was good before, and then you moved your desk around. So
it's slowly, just kind of piece by piece.
Oh yeah, we've actually done some rearranging ourselves. So we're moving the kids into their. We had them in a smaller room, and we're moving them into a bigger room so they both can have their own beds now. They're both getting a twin bed, so that's all we've been doing all week too. So I feel you with the moving around, but pretty much done with that finally. You getting any gaming in besides with a lot of work, or?
A little bit. So after I worked a lot like Monday and Tuesday, and then Tuesday Wednesday, the wife kind of saw me stressing out, and so I kind of got like 3 hours of uninterrupted game time, which I poured into Elden Ring.
Okay.
And was loving it. Wait, what night was that? No, I think that was the night I was coming. No, that night I played Elden Ring and had a blast. I was doing well, and then on Thursday night, I downloaded Tiny Tina's Wonderland, and I was going to jump on that and play for a little bit, and then switch to Elden Ring. And I was so excited, had everything planned out, and I turned on my computer, and I got a Discord message from Jackson. Hey, what are you doing? And he's playing Destiny 2, and I'm like, all right, I'll jump on Destiny 2 and like play a little bit. I feel bad. I've kind of felt like after we did the campaign, I've kind of like ghosted Destiny 2 a little bit, and so all right, I'll jump on for a while, and then I'll play some Elden Ring or Tiny Tina's to finish off the night. Well, he goes, hey, we're going to do a raid in about like 5 or 10 minutes. You want to join? I was like, no, that's not where I'm at right now.
You need,
I'm,
yeah. You
I'm
need to be
looking
in a
for
good
more
mental
of a
space for that.
yeah, I'm looking for more of a relaxing experience. And even with Elden Ring, I wasn't going to play very long. I was just going to like do some like explore a little bit more, do some relaxing things, try and level up, and then kind of get off. So I was not in the right like mental state for that. And we ended up playing for. I was like, okay, I'll give you an hour and a half on the raid, and then I'm out, and I'm gonna go play. I'm gonna finish off the night with some single player games, relax, and go to bed. Well, it took us forever to even like. It felt like it took 20-30 minutes just for us to start the raid. We were having audio issues. The Xbox Party app on PC has issues. Like they went away from having our own dedicated party chat app, and so now you have to do it in the overlay, which sucks. So you have to click Windows G, join the party, and it's just I don't even know how to bring the party thing up. So the only way I can get into a party is if somebody invites me, and then B, it's crashing constantly. It crashed Destiny twice. Like, it just is not optimized and does not work.
I played with this was a while ago, but I played with Caleb and Matt, and they were using the party app because it was before Matt had his PC, and it's shit. It's really bad. I don't really rip into Microsoft too much about their stuff because most of it's really good. But yeah, the Windows G thing sucks. It's horrible when you're used to Discord.
Yeah,
It's
before
trash.
they had kind of like a separate Xbox app that had party built into it, and it definitely wasn't Discord level, and it still had a couple issues, but it was
simplistic. It was easy. I didn't mind
they've
using
had they've only had more issues, exponentially more, going to the like overlay stuff. And then, so then NVIDIA has an overlay, AMD has an overlay, and now Windows has an overlay. You're running like Steam has an overlay. There's whatever, if you're on NVIDIA or AMD, there's 3 overlays that could be running in the background at all times. And so it's like, okay, you're giving up in-game performance to run these overlays in the background that could be brought up at any given moment. And it's just like, stop it with the fucking overlays, you know? And it's just... There needs to be a universal overlay platform that everything can feed into, and it's just one.
The only
if
time
you're
I
going to do an
enjoy
overlay.
the Xbox app is for achievements. I think, as weird as it sounds, the Steam achievement window pop-up is super...
underwhelming?
Underwhelming. But the Xbox achievement thing...
Get that nice little ding, and the thing pops up, and it kind of shows you like what achievement you got, and then when they transition to like the Xbox One era, you get to see like what percentage of people have got that achievement, right? And you're like, fuck yeah, I'm in top 7%, right? Like that
was the coolest thing about
top
Halo,
0.035%.
Halo Infinite, because your accounts are connected between Steam and Microsoft, you'd get both. So I'd be like, ding, it was sick. So
they got that part down. I'll give them that.
Yeah, but so anyways, back to the raid.
And the raid just didn't go well. It didn't help that the team that I joined in with, they're pretty experienced raiders, and they're kind of like in a most of them were, I think 3 or 4 of them, pretty experienced in raid, kind of on a weekly basis together. And then we had myself, and we had one other random, and so they wanted to like get everything in the raid. They wanted to do the hardest parts of it, and so you have to like start to finish. You have to finish it kind of like in 1 week, and you have to do all these extra things, and then you can get this like secret chest at the end. Like in every encounter, there's like a little extra thing that you have to do to get this like extra chest. And they wanted to do that, and I kept fucking up. It was literally on me every time, and I'm just like, I'm fucking sorry, guys. I'm just here right now, you know. I'm just here to be a body. And so the first part probably took us. It shouldn't have taken us that long. It took us like an hour and a half. And then
were they pretty good with you, or were they kind of little pissy.
They were starting, and then they started to get more and more frustrated, and I probably would too. And I wasn't in a great like mood
Yeah.
in general, and so I'm sure I wasn't easy to like play with, or like when you know that one guy keeps fucking up. Like if they're nice about it, you're like, all right, I feel bad like ragging on him too much, but I was just I don't know. I was in a mood. I didn't want to be there to begin with. I didn't want to be the guy fucking everything up, and I just wanted to get that goddamn encounter over with. It's the first encounter of this raid is literally the worst. Everything else after that is fine. Okay. It just takes so long, and there's all these complex things that are going on. It's the most complex part about the raid. Everything else after that is pretty straightforward, and like and at least it's quick. If you die, you know what you did. And you're right back in it, and you can get right back to the same spot. This you have to do 3 rounds of this like just drawn out encounter, and so you could be like we were an hour and a half into it, and we got 1 chest, and I'm just like, and I had done half the raid kind of the week before, so I kind of knew. I was like, okay, well we've gotten through that part. I can get 2 chests or 2 drops pretty quick here. So I kept going. We get to the final boss. You know, we kind of wiped, 2 times. We're starting to get it. We're about to freaking beat it. We did all this like damage. We're doing great, but we got no revives left. And so we're going back down for the final phase. And the bop, I see this heavy brick. I'm running. I grab the heavy brick because I'm all out. And the boss does this animation at the end of like each phase where he pushes you back. And if you're near the edge, you get shot off. No way to come back. So I fucked it up. And me and another guy did, and so we only had 4 people, and like it was like wipe. And at this point, we've been going for like 2.5 hours. They're mad at me, and they're yelling, why would you fucking go there? We're just gonna kill ads until the next encounter. And I'm like, you're fucking right, but I'm done. And I just fucking quit, dude. I was so mad. And we were at the boss.
Div Jackson's listening.
I apologize. It's all on me.
Put in the comments about how shitty Drolly was that night. So that reminds me of,
oh my god,
we used to, when D1 era, we had our raid crew. You know that our D1 raid
you guys
crew,
killed it.
We were fucking like super try hard, and I mean Dan and Spencer and Casey came into it a few times, and we'd have a couple of our guys, our normals, but we had everything down pat. Like we would fucking run through 3 characters on first, on reset night. But we had this one buddy that was on our raid team, and it's literally to a point where it's like memed, don't pull a biscuit. And your story that you just told me reminded me of that. Like literally, he would get in a mood. It was just Biscuit's a good dude. His name's Madison. There's no way in hell he's listening. I haven't talked to him in years, but if something could go wrong, he did it. And it was every fucking time I were like, oh, Madison, what the fuck are you doing? He'd be like, listen, this is, and he'd start explaining what happened, just kind of how you explained. I was running for a heavy brick, and then this happened, but oh man, there were so many times we so that story just made me laugh inside. Dan pulled a biscuit. So.
I did, and like normally I'll screw up like once, maybe twice, but then I'm like, okay, I've got this down. Right. I will not do this. And the funny thing is, here's the really funny thing that really I wanted to like go off a little bit because I was mad. I hadn't died once in that boss encounter. 6 other people fucking died. We were out of revive tokens. I didn't die fucking once, and my 1 death kills the whole fucking thing, right?
Oh,
yeah. It's just, oh man, I was so upset. But I mean, I was in one of those moods where I was so mad. I like didn't even like play any of the single player games.
Yep, you just
and then I went and watched some TV. I stayed up way too effing late and was super tired the next day. But
no, that was the day I texted you. I was like, dude, I got 9 hours of sleep last night. You're like, fuck you, I got 4.5.
Yep, that was that day.
You were talking about angry though. That happened to me last night. Nothing particular, just a really long, stressful day. We'd been working, trying to get stuff done, and we got around to like 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, I don't even want to play anything right now. Like, I'm just gonna get angry. It's not worth it. Just went to bed. So, you're talking Destiny. Let's just transition right into it, man. So, we have yet to talk about the Witch Queen expansion together. We haven't gotten into details. I haven't watched any content. The only content I've watched about Destiny was actually Astacross. saying that Bungie was trying to copyright strike a shit ton of YouTube content creators.
Yeah.
So,
Well, did you hear what actually happened? The
No,
resolution, what they found out?
Nope.
Somebody went rogue on behalf of Bungie. They infiltrated one of their account, like somebody else's account that can copyright strike on behalf of Bungie because their account, YouTube account, was copyright struck, and I think too many times and got deleted. So
they took it out on other content creators. That makes no sense.
And Bungie, yeah. Well, they I think they were maybe
They
like
just
trying
wanted to
to
burn everything down, essentially, like fuck your
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, so that's what happened with that, because they copyright struck one of Bungie's videos on Bungie's account
Oh, yeah.
on behalf of Bungie.
All I saw was I haven't followed Destiny, but I still subscribe to Astacross and Geekermon and Fallout Plays. Those are kind of my three that I watched a lot. And I just wanted to show support to him.
Yeah,
Especially Geekermon. I'll still watch his videos. I don't know if you've ever watched him or not, but he's just a PvP guy. Just has a hell of a
I've
time
watched
playing PvP. And anyways, so I saw Astacross posted on YouTube. Not a video, but a write up. You know, you can comment to your followers and whatnot. And he's like, "Boys, this might be the last video." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "What the fuck?" And I actually called you that night, and I'm like, "Dude, what is going on?"
yeah, because once you get 3, like YouTube just like deactivates your account, and from what YouTube says, is the only way to get it back is to take legal action. So Astacross was like, "Boys, like I don't know if any guys are lawyers or know somebody, but I'm gonna need some legal representation pretty soon."
Well, and what do you do in that situation? Like that's his livelihood. You know, he's full time, isn't he? I would assume with the number of people he has.
Yep. I mean, he prepared his team. He's like, guys, we're shifting to the second account, and it's literally just like, I think like Astacross clips or something.
Yeah.
That's just like him, you know, a montage kind of like a second kind of channel. But he's like, prepare to just shift over and start posting everything on the second channel. I'm gonna try and like, you know, get everybody to like aware like this is, and like, you know, try and bridge the gap. Luckily, he's a Twitch, you know, also streamer, so he's got that. But I feel like he's bigger on YouTube.
Yeah, I would say, because that's where he started. His Titan video really blew him up.
I went back and watched that this
so
this
funny,
week or last week, and it is hilarious. But he's actually, it's a little bit different than I remember it. He's a different Astacross. He's monotone. He's low energy. All right, boys, you want to learn how to play Titan? This is how it is today. That's how he is the entire video, and I don't remember that at all. I remember him. I thought it was like, you grab your soda can, you chuck it at that grandma across the street and peg her in the head. Like, you know, he's normally so energetic and so animated that, like, going back to like that and is such early in his career. Yeah, he I don't know, and he was generally
confidence, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, he just hadn't found his style, his on camera persona yet. So it was just really interesting to like see the contrast of where he is now and where he kind of came from, because like he kills it now. He gets me amped up, and he can get anybody excited about.
yeah, he's good. So tell me about the season. I know you mentioned that the campaign's amazing. You said it's the best delivery of the story. So talk about that a little bit, and then just, I guess, fill me in on the season. What's the season model? Is it rinse and repeat style, like the last how many seasons? I guess just give me your opinion from a veteran Destiny player.
Yeah. So
Excuse me.
we haven't really talked about this on the channel. I feel like we kind of like missed the boat a little bit in far of like news story cycle to make our own video just about this topic. But the campaign is just so good, and the legendary difficulty feels so incredible. It feels like the perfect amount of challenge. Each encounter, like there's like so many encounters and checkpoints designed in every mission that every mission feels like thought out and curated, and every little encounter checkpoint is this challenge of, all right, I die 3 or 4 times, I'm going to figure it out, I might switch some weapons around, or I'm going to do this and do that, and it really feels good. And it's what I loved about Outriders, about like trying to like keep redoing the same encounter until you kind of like find the winning formula to get it right. it does that beautifully. The difficulty is it's perfect. It always caps you, so you're always 10 levels below your enemies, and so they're always red bar, and that's like the best you can get. Doesn't matter like how high your light is. And I feel like and there's no champions, but it's just that, and it's such a good modifier. I think they could, and they scale it based on how many people are in your party too. So it's still a challenge with 2 or 3 people. It's not, you're not like, oh, it's really hard for solos and you get your buddies in and you just like stomp over everything. No, they kind of scale it so you do more damage as a single player. Now the only thing is I think they could tune it just a little bit better for single player like users. It was pretty challenging for me. And I'm not like the best solo player content, but I've played like a lot of Destiny and I've done some like really hard content. And there were parts where I needed like, you need another person just for revives and just for like things will one shot you. I was so impressed with myself. There's one encounter. If the boss hits you, you get one shot. And there's ads all over the place. And you're trying to take out the boss. And so I kept at it and it kept like, luckily they buffed the hell out of Titan barricades this season. And so I get...
first time ever Titans got buffed.
They nerfed the... okay, so here's the other part I'm pissed about Bungie. They nerfed my subclass into the ground. I played a Sunspot Titan and I loved my Sunspots. They destroyed
Well, they're
Sunspots.
overpowered. So why wouldn't they nerf them?
Overpowered? Are you kidding me? Nobody ran that subclass. Nobody liked that subclass.
As a hunter, we have been at the bottom of the barrel from from Bungie.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so what happened was they came up with a new exotic for Sunspots in the expansion, and because it was going to be too strong, they had to nerf Sunspots for this exotic.
I like seeing Titans just suffer.
I was just like, oh my gosh, I was so upset. If they didn't if Void 3.0, so they gave, they're going to do like a season for each of the light subclasses now, and they're going to give them the stasis treatment. So where you have like a whole, like you can like completely customizable, you can pick any grenade so it's Void right now this season. So they're calling it Void 3.0, and you can just now everybody has access to all the grenades. So like before, like they were kind of like you had like 2 or 3 per class, and there was like a little bit of overlap, but like there were some that you just like couldn't use. Like Hunters had ones, and Titans had ones, and Warlock had ones that nobody else kind of got. Now you can use any of them. So there's a lot more build crafting there. Void is way more powerful. So if that wasn't as good as it was, and that like making me want to like use Void, I would probably have quit Destiny over the nerf to Sunspots, because I was so upset, because like that was my go-to. I wore the exotic that like extended my Sunspots and gave my teammates the Sunspot buff if they were in them, so you do more damage. And it's like Sunspots are the way to go. They're just awesome. But now they made Titans a little bit. They gave them utility and support and high-end content. What? That's crazy. So if I put my barricade down, everybody behind it gets an overshield.
That seems really powerful.
It's very strong. And so it helps me in high-level content. I can actually helps me solo stuff. It helps me in like a team of things. Like, all right, here's my barricade. Everybody gets overshield, and then as long as it's up, you go behind it, overshield starts coming back.
Oh yeah, so you can just pop out, pop back in.
Yeah, like it's huge. But okay, so like there's other kind of issues with that, but that feels really good. So I've been playing my Void stuff, and so I had to use that in this encounter in the campaign to stay alive. It was the only way. And I using an exotic. It only gives you an overshield. It doesn't replenish your health. So I had to use the Chest of Alpha Lupe whenever I put my barricade down. My health, I get full health, and so whenever I do that, I get full health and a overshield, and so I was like set for like kind of high end content. And that's pretty much what I've been running. The only exotic I've been running this season, because it's just really strong. But like I had everything like timed out perfectly. It felt like an Elden Ring encounter, to where like I had this like encounter memorized. Like the boss comes out, Gallowhorn him twice, go back, start taking out ads because they're going to come at me pretty quick. And then the boss is going to pop out, and I hit him with some Gallahorn shots, put up my barricade shield, dodge here, go behind this corner, reload, hit him a couple more times, and like ended up finishing. He ended up killing me, but then the Gallahorn Wolfpack rounds killed him. And counter over, I could revive again. So that's how I beat it. I beat it on like a last second thing.
Dude, I bet you were just butthole.
Oh my gosh, dude. It was crazy. It was exciting. It was some of like the best Destiny content I've ever played. It was so much fun. And then it got that wasn't even like so then they did a classic Bungie. Was like, okay, you beat this part. Now the world's crumbling around you and you got to get out. And it's this like Halo 3, like you're running away kind of mission. Yeah. And like there was all these like crazy parts to it. And that was just one level. And it's just every single level felt like they had the dungeon treatment. They were expertly thought out. The visuals were crazy. You'd walk around and you just get this massive sense of scale and this huge environment. Everything was so like every detail felt like thought out and exactly placed, and the campaign was just absolutely incredible.
So the story delivery was really
the story delivery. They had cutscene after cutscene after cutscene. Like I've never seen so many cutscenes in a Destiny campaign. That's explained.
Great. That's so great because my biggest thing is we've talked about this. Destiny's lore is so deep and so amazing if you take the time to research it. But I want that shit in game.
Yeah.
Give it to me in game. That's what we've been asking for years. And was it like that? Do you feel like you could understand the story?
They did a cutscene about the Hive in the Book of Sorrow. An animated cutscene.
That's
3D
insane.
rendered.
So we had to buy a book to get the lore about the Book of Sorrow. That's, that was a couple years ago. And that book was awesome. I read through most of it.
Yeah.
Going over how, the Hive became who they are with the darkness and the life of Crota and
Oryx and Savathûn and
yeah,
like they're all like that.
It's
story.
Amazing. The story's amazing, but if they're actually giving that in game now, that could I go and play the campaign without having to do like all the weekly bullshit? Or
yeah, you can just play like the campaign is just the peak level of what I want Destiny to be. It's the best it's ever been. The campaign is, and now on top of that, they did seasonal content.
Okay, so it's not like you do a story mission and then, oh, by the way, you got to go grind for.
No,
or
you could just go from
fetch quests.
Yeah,
or not fetch quests, but you know what I mean, where they're like, you need to go do this and complete 3 public events because it's going to charge this little bullshit crystal like that.
Right.
That is the stuff that drives me nuts. It literally kills the flow of the game. It just takes the pacing and throws it right out.
Yeah, it really does. Or okay, now go play like 5 or 10, like PvP, go play 10 PV matches or strikes, and you're just like, I don't want to do that. I just want to like get the story for and continue on this quest. And so, there's a lot of problems. I always don't think they really don't need a seasonal story on the same season that the campaign launches.
Oh, they have. So there's a
separate season.
Okay.
And it has its own story. And it's kind of connected, but it's still it's very separate and focuses around different characters.
Okay. How much is the? Sorry to interrupt. How much is the expansion?
The expansion's 40.
Okay.
And then the seasons are 10.
So you got to pay 50 to pay. Or does the season come with the expansion?
You can get the like $60 or $70 thing, and then it's all the whole year's worth of like Destiny or whatever.
Okay. So I'm just trying to think like,
honestly though, like
I can play the campaign, but
just get the. All right, so here's what I was telling my good friend Buttery at work, is I was telling him how great it was and how he needs to play it. I wouldn't get the season.
Okay.
I would spend the $40 on the campaign. It's worth literally every dollar. and then you could literally just watch YouTube videos on the story of the season. The seasonal story gets good, but it's not delivered in a very good way. I think the peak of their seasonal story delivering content was the season that we played, where we went into the not Shadow Realm. What's it called?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
The Throne World, like
area.
Yeah. And you explored, and there was rotating stuff, and it was so expansive. And the more you explored, the more lore you got, and then you got the story mode. Like, that is the best.
That was fun.
It's ever been. That was so good, but they gave that the dungeon treatment, right? They poured over every single detail, so it feels like they can only do give the full attention to like one of these things at a time,
right?
And which is unfortunate because this season you have to run like 1 or 2 story strikes before you can see the cutscene, and then it's just a cutscene, and then you have to wait till next week. And the strikes
that's the shit that drives me nuts. Is like, I got back into Destiny last year when the Witch Queen was announced, and I was super excited to play it. And you only remember, or you try to remember the good things when you're playing a game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, I'll get back into Destiny. I had such a good time with Dan and this and that. And we get into it, and we have fun for like 2 weeks. And then
we played it a little bit longer. We were going on for 4 or 5 weeks.
Okay.
Because we hit the same areas twice.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess it was over a month. But I got to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm receiving the story from a fucking computer, and I, complete what I could for the week with the story, and everything else was just boring to me. So that's where I get really frustrated, is the time gate,
mm-hmm.
and the story delivery for the season feels horrible.
The time gate has always felt bad. I think
mm-hmm.
in the season that we were playing, it at least made sense. And I get that it makes sense in their seasonal model, and you're paying because they want you to like kind of keep coming back instead of like blowing through it and then like not playing. But I don't, and so there's always like a give and take, right? So if you're a really like a busy father, or your work week is crazy, like the seasonal model isn't too bad because you can play for an hour and a half maybe, get the cutscene in the story, and you can log off for the week. And so it kind of works there where you don't have to put like a ton of time into it to like mm-hmm. get it. Whereas like, if like there's this big 15 hour expansion, it's like, okay, when am I going to find the time to kind of do this, to like get all this like story, would be a lot more challenging. But on like there's always like different people that Bungie's trying to balance. They're trying to appease so many different people.
It's hard. And I'm not saying it's not hard. It's just, the delivery for me it's a fail. That's just,
it's this seasonal content. The story ended up getting really good, and was like, you were like, wow, like this was actually good. But it was only like the last cutscene or two, like so the last like 2 weeks, and everything else before that was kind of like, okay, whatever.
Monotonous.
And the seasonal activity is just not fun. It's a good showcase for you to just like kill a bunch of things, but they literally just throw waves and waves and waves of enemies at you, and it takes like 20 to 30 minutes to beat one of these things, and there's no way to speed it up. There's not like, oh, I got really good and I just like beat it faster. They just keep throwing waves at you. Like there's more enemies than there's like ever been in this activity. It's like a strike on steroids with enemies. And so it's fun for the first time, but then if you have to do it every week, there's only 2 of them. Mm-hmm. And they're just monotonous and grindy. It does not feel good. It's terrible. It's I just don't think they need, if this is the level of like seasonal content they're going to give us, I don't want one when an expansion comes out.
Right.
Like it's
maybe they should just
value to it.
Do the expansion and then wait, a month or 2 before they drop a new season.
Have have people grind rep and do some other stuff, and then like maybe make it like a slightly shorter season, but then do like a more complete other season and give them
Right.
some more space that they can like work with some more stuff. But yeah, the campaign is absolutely insane and incredible. But the seasonal content's not good, and there's kind of a lot of other things in the game that's not good. And one of YouTube reviewers that I watch a lot, he's also kind of like a Destiny player. He kind of like said a lot of the same things. Is a game has a hard time balancing it for casuals or for hardcore people. It's literally either so mind-numbingly easy because they don't want the casual people to fail. And so when you join any match-made activity, it's just like you literally just walk through it and it's not hard at all. Or it's so freaking hard that you need 3 other people and you can't do it as a solo. And I don't, and himself included and myself, I don't understand why they can't have this campaign difficulty be the standard of the game, because it's so good and it feels so good. And you don't need mics to communicate. You can just match make with people and you could be able to complete activities that were at that level of difficulty. Maybe you could like tweak it ever so slightly, but Bungie's never good at doing things slightly unless it comes to hunters.
Yeah.
Which they just don't. They say they nerfed them, but they don't really nerf them at all.
Hunters, no. Hunters are Bungie's love child. So you haven't been playing Destiny a lot after you beat the campaign.
Yeah, I think I'm getting to a point where it's like, okay, what am I grinding for? The weapons? The weapons they're not that much of a chase to me, I feel like, anymore. They're not a good enough reward. And once I get them, I pretty much, like, it takes me all season to get, the god roll or the couple weapons that I want. And then the next season, they're, like, not good anymore.
I think that's
and there's new stuff coming out.
I stopped hunting the specific roles in Destiny the minute they started becoming Sunset, and even before then, irrelevant. We used to sit there and be like, I want to get this because this shit's, I
want the blast furnace, and I'm going to grind it 30 times tonight to try and get it.
Yep. I remember that specific season. And even if it wasn't say a hand cannon meta or an auto rifle meta, we still would get those rolls and be like, hey, I'm going to put this shit in my vault just in case one season that is the meta. But, when they started sunsetting stuff and making stuff irrelevant or nerfing it into the ground, it's not worth my time anymore. And that's really where I stepped away from Destiny.
Yeah. And so the other part is they introduced weapon crafting.
Okay.
Which is cool, but you're not really crafting anything. You're kind of just using it a bunch to get access to the perks that you want, and you're just picking out perks. You don't feel like you're slotting in pieces of it, or you don't feel like you're unlocking a certain perk that you can slot into either multiple weapons or the same weapon like repeatedly. And so everything is a currency cost, and so you have to just pay for the perks that you want. You want to re-roll the weapon or roll it with the perks that you want, you get to choose them, but you got to pay for it every single time. And they have new enhanced perks, which are marginally better than the other ones, which is fine because they don't want the crafted weapons to like completely change the sandbox or the meta or become anything else. So they're in a fine spot, but they're extremely expensive to get. The materials needed are very hard to get, and you don't get to keep that perk. If you want to test out a different role, you have to buy a new perk, and then that other perk is just back up for sale again. You have to rebuy it if you want to switch back to your previous role. So instead of like leveling up the weapon and unlocking all these different perks that you can mess around with and have fun, and I want to use this role for this build, and I want to recraft it and for this build, you can't do that. It's extremely expensive.
When I saw that they had weapon crafting and you could pick your perks, that's what I was envisioning. Hey, you unlock this perk, and now that is your perk on that weapon. And then you can switch and this and that, and you can choose like, hey, I want
you just get the freedom to experiment more, right? And like that's the whole problem with the vault. And so some people were like, the weapon crafting is going to fix your vault space because you won't need 5 or 10 of the same weapon.
Right.
You'll need one crafted weapon, and you could go back and whatever build you want. And they just they ruined it again. And it's just like, the Bungie always tries to give you this feature. They say, and I feel like they do this all the time. They're like, we're going to give you horde mode, but it's not a horde mode. We're going to give you weapon crafting, but you're not crafting anything.
Yeah.
You know, you're not like, there's no way about it are you crafting it. You're literally just choosing the perks and paying for it.
Yeah, that's
with materials. And you have to keep repaying for it every single time. And like anytime they say we have procedurally generated environment. Yeah, it's not that. They're slapping like industry terms on whatever they've kind of created, and they're kind of similar, but they don't fit at all. Like, and Bungie like made through Halo, they made Firefight, which was a horde mode, and it was great, and it was a ton of fun. And then Bungie's like, okay, we're finally going to bring horde mode to Destiny, and it wasn't a horde mode. They put a timer on it, and there wasn't waves, and it was just like, I don't think they know what they're like talking about anymore.
Yeah, sometimes you got to realize that the old Bungie's dead. I mean,
I agree.
You got people that leave, and sometimes in companies or studios, you got a few of those rock solid people with good visions and people that can actually go out and produce those visions. You know, if they left, they left. You know, look at BioWare.
Yep.
BioWare,
prime example.
They're gone. You know, we'll see Dragon Age 4.
Yeah.
But you know, Bungie's Bungie. You know, they still have a lot of good. You know, you look at the gunplay in Destiny, it's phenomenal. You look at the graphics, beautiful. They're just missing a few things that really set the game apart.
Well, I don't know if you saw the whole like Mylan Games story about it, but there's been a bunch of other kind of accusations of Bungie when the whole like harassment stuff kind of came around, and there's this concept of the old guard at Bungie, and it's like the few like kind of founding people who are on the original team, and they have this vision for the game, and it's not written down anywhere. It only lives in their head, and whatever you create based on like what's written down and what was given to you, they will come in at the end of the timeline and say, this isn't Destiny, here's what Destiny is, and they'll just drop a bombshell on you and completely change the vision right at the end of the project. And then they'll kind of swoop in, make some changes to their vision, what Destiny feels like, and it usually ends up just like shifting focus, and it comes out half baked.
It's an afterthought.
Yeah, and like
and not on purpose, because originally that thought was there. But if you got someone else telling you to change, you know, at the last minute crunch time, then you're gonna be jumping through your ass to get that vision pushed out.
Correct. And you've been working on a solid unified vision the entire time, and then right at the end they splinter off, and whatever, you don't have enough time to complete whatever their vision actually is, and it just that same kind of concept just echoes in the way the game plays. Is Bungie doesn't want you to play the way that you want to play. They want you to play the way that they want you to play. And it's always been like that. And that's always been the most annoying thing. And it screams old guard to me. But Mylan Games, his experience was he is an individual contractor because he's a lore person like Bife is. But they contracted him to do the like lore books, the anthologies. And so he put all the different grimoire cards together in order to tell a story. And he went through and did the whole thing. He was working with people from Bungie and contacts, and he justified every single piece of where he put the grimoire cards. I put this piece here because it says this. The next piece was because this says this, and it all kind of connects. And it tells you this section tells you this piece, which then transitions to this piece, and all this section tells you this information. And at the end of his project, somebody else swooped in and said, nope, this isn't Destiny. I know Destiny. And he swoops in, makes some changes, and they gave him all the credit.
That's fucked up.
And they were going to remove him from the credits. He wasn't even going to be credited on like the book. And they changed like his whole title. And then he like said, "Hey, whoa, what's going on?" And they changed his title, and they gave this other guy his title of the lore curator. This other guy got that. And they gave him some BS one that had literally nothing to do. And it makes it seem like the other guy did the entire work.
Right.
He literally only swept in at the end, made some arbitrary changes that were nothing, and then got all the credit for it. And so that's kind of what's going on in Bungie, is there are a lot of the talented people. They want to make the best version of the game, but there's these old like founding people that are in control of this vision, and they're not communicating it well because they want to justify their own job and paycheck. So they're waiting until the end because I have it and I'm not going to give it to anybody else. So they don't write this vision down. They don't communicate this vision from the beginning. They keep it. It lives inside them and these couple other people, and they distribute it with a hammer however they want at whatever stage of the project they want.
So essentially they're just destroying the company from the inside out. When
Yeah.
you got multiple,
They think they're protecting the Destiny IP and original vision.
which is, they might have really good ideas in this and that, but you gotta take fresh outlooks.
Yeah. Or and the way they're going about it is toxic and self-serving.
Right, exactly. That's too bad, man.
It is, and it's one of the reasons I didn't want to buy Destiny this year, and I wanted to stop playing Destiny because I'm having a lot of fun in my single player experiences.
But the addiction got you.
It wasn't even the addiction; it was the hype of the lore of Witch Queen.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I agree.
Bungie's always the best at hyping any expansion up beyond belief.
Yep.
And I think if it was just a regular season, I could have held off.
Right.
But with how big this one was and how big they were making it seem, and how I'd watched their like teaser of the expansion, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna hate all over this, and I'm gonna make sure I'm not gonna buy it because they're gonna show me.
Dude, I was even excited.
I think, and
I haven't
dude,
played-
they
I haven't
nailed
played
it.
for a long time, and I saw that Witch Queen trailer, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, holy fuck, I might be getting back into Destiny.
And even me buying the entire like $60 thing with all the like seasons, it was worth the price for the campaign because it was
And
so
that's
good.
fine.
And to me, like just loving the lore and having it in the story and having the gameplay experience be awesome, it was worth it. I wish I wouldn't like. I don't think at least this season's not very good. Maybe next season will be better.
Right.
But I'm like kind of losing that, like, why am I playing this game? There's no real big motivation to play it.
Yeah. And that's fine. You might turn into the type of person that just comes back and plays the most recent campaign and then calls it a day. I'm sure there's a shit ton of people that do that.
Yeah, well, that's what I used to do, and why I love the expansion model versus season pass model is I jump in on the expansion, I jump in on all the hype, and I'd play it the crap out of it for like 6 weeks.
Right.
And be like, I've done everything I wanted to do in this expansion. I'm done.
And that's just like any other single player game. I was thinking about
Correct.
that the other day. You know, we've been playing Elden Ring for a month, and I'm gonna keep playing it for another month, and then hey, I might move on to the next game. But $40 to get that out of it is totally worth it. $60 would be totally worth it. Fuck, I'll pay $60 for a 10-hour game if it's phenomenal. But my camera and Zoom has been frozen for about 15 minutes, so I think we should probably cut this off. I know we didn't talk about Elden Ring, but that's okay. It was actually really nice and refreshing to hear about some Destiny, because I think I'm always gonna have that small spot in my heart for Destiny, just for the hundreds and hundreds of hours I put into the game, and between that and thousands of hours between Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. So it's always nice to hear kind of like the most up-to-date news, especially coming from you, a person that hasn't skipped a beat and continued on. But you got anything else to add about it? Hello? Little bit of technical difficulties right there. I have no clue what happened, but my video froze and then eventually crashed. What I was saying is, though, Destiny, I put hundreds of hours in Destiny 2. Between Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, I probably got, over 1,000 easily. Not probably, but easily over 1,000 hours. So probably I think it's one of those games that I've always wanted to succeed, and it's always gonna be I got a little small spot in my heart for it. But it was really refreshing tonight to listen to you talk about Destiny, because you got the most up-to-date information on it. We were gonna talk some Elden Ring, but you know what, we had a good conversation, so I don't really care what I was gonna say before our video cut out. Do you got anything else to add, or?
Only that last night I think I got the most frustrating Elden Ring experience. I ended up taking like this like portal to this like other place, and it won't let me fast travel out, and everything is way higher level than where I'm at. So I was like, this fucking sucks. I don't know. I'm gonna get out of here, and I just fucking shut it off.
Hell yeah. That makes me happy. I like seeing you suffer in Elden Ring. But so there's our Elden Ring discussion. But
there it was, right there.
That's all I got for the night. You got anything else to add?
Stay nerdy.